Hey guys, this is Coach Carly, and you're watching Bull Time.
Welcome back, everyone that hopefully listens to this video, which, at this point we're looking at, I don't know, maybe like 100 views right now. Hopefully Red Bull can help us out here and get us a sponsorship, but probably not. So, well, today we are here with the December recap of Bull Time with Coach Carly. Today we have the yellow edition, the tropical flavor. It is about 40 degrees today in Buffalo. Yesterday, Christmas Day, it was about 45 degrees and rainy. So I figured that tropical was very fitting just because of how warm it was, how rainy it was. It's December in Buffalo, and I couldn't ask for anything more except sunlight. So, some recap things that we've done. I talked about last month, we were starting some renovations. We have now finished all of our renovations. They are done, completed. Everything was done before Christmas. So I want to give a little clap for all of my people. They were fucking awesome. We'll start with the base. So we had Mr. Matt Ferry with Grizzly Painting Services. He put up all of the joints, all of the drywall, put up the actual structure of our changing room and storage room, which have turned out fucking awesome. And then as soon as he was done painting the outside and the inside, we had Misso Electric come in, and they did all of our electric for the lights and switches and outlets and all that good stuff that I had known nothing about because I am not handy whatsoever. And then we had Miss Allie Price, Alleyway Designs, do another mural, which she fucking killed it, and killed it out of the park. It was just like, you have to come here and actually experience it because it's just that fucking cool. And it just takes up the entire, I think it's like 8 feet long by about like 16 feet and about like 10 feet tall. And it is just fucking sweet. So if you ever get a chance, come check it out. And then some finishing final touches. We had Matt come back and install some benches, some mirrors, put up a couple of hangers in the changing room, as well as we had my sign. I call him sign guy Chris Jerga. I don't even know if he has like a studio right now, but like he definitely owns like a pinstripe painting business, which if you've ever been to Mustache, he has so many different touches here for what we do, and it's just fucking cool. So he put some finishing touches on the doors for me, and it's been awesome. So shout out to all those guys. I really appreciate all of their help. They've been really good to me since I've started my business, especially at this location, and I'm forever thankful. Back to things that you're actually here to listen to, which is about how our athletes are doing. We had 3 meets this December. We had 12-4, 12-11, and 12-19. So we'll start with 12-4. That was in Utica. That was also a meet that I ran. Shout out to Nate Drolette, Leah Braymiller, my fiance, and Zach Clapp. Those guys traveled in from Buffalo to help me out. My state chair, Jan Dario, was also there. It was a bare bones crew, but we were able to get everything done, which was awesome. So I had 7 of my own clients compete, and honestly, it was a great day. First up, we had Zoe Kendrick. So we had a morning and an afternoon session. I had 4 in the morning session, and then 3 in the afternoon session. First up, we had Zoe. Zoe went 8 for 9. So she just did a meet in July, and she really wants to get to nationals. Unfortunately, we will not be able to go this year. She literally dropped a plate on her foot from when you guys see this video, probably about a month ago, but 2 weeks ago from right now. So she is out 4 to 6 weeks. It really sucks. I really wish that didn't happen, but that's life, right? You just roll with the punches and kind of go from there. So Zoe went 8 for 9, dropped 4 kilos of body weight in a new weight class, and saw a 17.5 kilo total PR. Absolutely smashed it. We were trending to be able to hit that total. I think we literally only needed the 67.5 kilo class needed like 10 more kilos than that, maybe 7.5. I don't remember what it was, but we would have easily done that at her next meet. But that's life. She's going to kill when she comes back. Can't wait to get to training. Right now, she's still training 4 days a week, just really modified programming for her right now. Really good training, really good competition for Zoe. That's 2 back-to-back competitions that are absolutely insane for her. I'm pretty sure if I look at the stats correctly, since we have started together, she has put on over 65 kilos on her total in 2 years, which is just insane amount of progress. So next up we had Lindsay Judgetts, and Lindsay and I have been together since 2018 July. I remember messaging Gage and Lindsay and telling them, hey, listen, you guys had a really not good meet. I'd love to help you guys out. I'd love to coach you guys. I think it might be really good for your progress. And here we are almost 3.5 years later, and they are thriving. So a little bit about Lindsay's background. Lindsay started when she was a college student with me, and progress was just insane. She just responded to training super, super, super well, was climbing the ladder. And then bam, Corona hit, life hit, and she started working more than full time. And to still be coming out and competing the way that she does is just absolutely insane. So this past meet, she went 7 for 9, did 10 kilos less than her best ever, and not on purpose, but lost over 13 kilos of body weight from her best meet that was in April. So from April to this meet that we just did in December, lost 13 kilos, not purposely, just lost 13 kilos. So to still stay within 10 kilos of her best ever total, you're talking 97%, 98% of her best ever. Which leads me to my next person, Mr. Jamie Smith. Jamie Smith went 7 for 9, 20 kilo total PR. Jamie unfortunately got sick literally the week before, maybe 2 weeks before, and even on competition day, not COVID related, just cold. It's cold and flu season. So developed this sickness and didn't quite have, I think, the higher expectations that I thought we could have had. But to still come out with feeling how he was feeling, do as well as he did, and still total as good as he did, that's awesome. I mean, training went really well. He hit a pretty massive 20 kilo squat PR, hit a pretty massive, I think 7.5 bench PR, and deadlifted, I think over 10 kilos than he did in the meet, or excuse me, in his best ever in the gym. So training went really well, just can't help for external factors, right? Can't control when you get sick, but to still come out 7 for 9 and get a total of 20 kilo total PR, that's a really, 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 really good day. We had 2 people that did a meet with me for the first time. First up was Ryan Hare. Ryan, this was his first meet ever, and it was his first meet under me. And he went 8 for 8. We did not let him, I did not want him / let him do his last deadlift. He tweaked his back on his last squat. Ryan was super nervous going into the meet, and he forgot to brace fully, and you could tell on the way that he was squatting, and that kind of torqued his back a little bit. We didn't even know if we'd be able to deadlift, and the fact that we came out and still went 8 for 8, hit everything that he couldn't have imagined of hitting, was super awesome. Training went really well for Ryan, kept responding really well, saw a pretty nice steady increase in all the lifts. He started feeling some AC joint issues on his bench. His shoulder definitely just took a brunt of it, between low bar squatting, between, his daily lifestyle, his job. His shoulders were just super rounded. He starts feeling a little bit of pain in that joint. We worked around it really, really well. We had limited range of motion. Took some off the intensity, really didn't do a lot of pressing motion with barbell or dumbbell work. We really just focused on a little bit of time under tension, some cable machines, some guided exercises to work around that area, but still add in some barbell lifting. And it seemed to work out really well. Went 8 for 8, didn't really miss any lifts. So I can't complain there at all. We had Mr. Mac. Mr. Mac can't go, and this was his first meet under me, his first meet in 3 years. He lost some weight during our prep, still got stronger. I think he lost a total of like 10, 12 pounds-ish, and got into the weight class that he once was, and crushed the meet. I mean, he went 9 for 9, saw a 77.5 kilo total PR. Yeah, it gave him a purpose to keep training super hard. It's a good kind of segue into talking a little bit about like why people compete. People compete to have a reason, right? Like a point A to point B way of training. I put in all this hard work. I want to get something out of it. So why don't I train for something to make myself still go to the gym? As much as you can say you're motivated or you want to be consistent or all the things like that, life happens. Like, you could love the gym all you want, but there are going to be days that you just straight up don't want to go. And finding that purpose to keep going when you don't want to requires consistency, which requires being on program, which requires staying true to what the goal is. And this just aids that process for a lot of people. So really proud of Mac. I'm really excited for him to compete again in July. I think that's going to be a really good, healthy amount of time to see another, maybe not 77.5 kilos, but definitely a high enough kilo total PR for July. So last up in the afternoon session, we had Mr. Greg Guylog, and he went 8 for 9, I believe. That was definitely a mistake. He went 7 for 9. But the cool news was this was a meet for Greg to accomplish one thing. Greg needed to qualify for nationals. We didn't get to talk about it on this YouTube series just because it wasn't something that I did back then. But Greg made a technical error on his squat in July. Greg missed the rack command on a huge squat PR, and life happens. So it is what it is. We came back and we accomplished what the goal was. We went 7 for 9, hit a 5 kilo total PR, qualified for junior nats, and now we can actually try to blow that one out of the water. So I'm really, really, really happy with the kind of progress Greg makes in the gym. He handles competing really well. He stays in the moment. We are doing just such a phenomenal job of staying within himself, growing, chipping away. I'm really happy with the kind of progress he's been able to make. Last up, but not least, we had Mr. Nolan Smith. Mr. Nolan Smith he just won his age division and weight group at nationals this past year. He now bumped up a weight class, and he went not only 9 for 9 again, he saw a 17.5 kilo total PR, and he's squatted an unofficial American record in his weight class. He squatted 77.5 kilos at 42.5 kilo body weight. We're talking almost double body weight squats. That's fucking insane. He has crushed it. He has crushed everything that he has been doing in the gym. He even told me he called his own shot. He called his own shot for bench, which was unbelievable. I was like, okay, bud, you do you. I think that this is there. You want this one? Let's go for it. We already had a big day with the squat, and we knew that we were going to have some room to wiggle with some numbers for him. And he proved everyone wrong. He benched that weight, listened to his commands, and just absolutely smashed it. So Nolan has had some pretty good competitions back to back, and I'm super pumped for him. It's really cool. So that wraps up 12-4. I know that was a little long, but now we got 12-11. I was in Minneapolis, Minnesota. We had 2 of our remote clients, our Wisconsin cheeseheads, competed. We had Mariah Urban and Gregory Wonroe. We'll start with Mariah. I mean, absolutely killed her meet. She went 7 for 9, 42.5 kilo total PR. Honestly, she actually completed every lift. Just forgot some technicalities on the squat. She forgot the rack command, and on the bench, she jumped the press command. But just absolutely killed it. I mean, since we've started, which was like over the summer, I think it was right after Greg's meet in April or May. We started like a month after that. She was having some issues with her coach, some other, it just wasn't really getting the most out of the training that she could have. So we started together and things have just climbed. Her meet that she just did, it was her first meet. We had a baseline and things just grew and grew and grew and grew after that. So this could have been even closer if she would have got those things. I think we left like close to about 7.5 kilos on the table. 10 kilos on the table, could have been well over 100 pounds of a total PR for her in a short couple of months. We're talking, I don't know, April, August, I don't know. It was like 4 or 5 months and she saw 100 kilo total PR, or 100 pound total PR. Absolutely insane. So Mr. Greg and I think this was our 4th or 5th meet together. And we have learned, this was definitely a learning experience. We kind of had a general idea about what I'm gonna say his last meet. We wanted to give it one last shot. The problem is for Greg and I, his training is so fucking good. Like he has such good training cycles. Every training block is good. He stays within the appropriate RPE. He's always getting progressively stronger. We're able to handle weight really well. We're able to keep him super fucking healthy. Minor tweaks here and there from pre-existing stuff. But we have really done a good job of keeping money in the wallet, keeping him healthy, making sure that he's not expending the tank. The problem is when it comes down to competing, the weight cuts get him. The weight cuts get him a lot. And we're talking about a significant drop off. We're talking about, we're going from squatting 650, 660, and we go in the meet and 630 is really heavy. We're talking about, and this is consistent every meet that we've done. We're going from benching 405, 410, 400 in the meet in a gym, pretty smooth. Like we're talking legitimate pauses. We're talking about legitimate rack commands, press commands. Like it's not like a, makeshift, like, okay, let's take off a couple of kilos because, things are looking really bro-like and gym-like. No, it's dialed in. But we get to the meet and 375 feels super heavy. 170 kilos feels heavy and looks heavy in a meet. So it's really at the point now where we have noticed that this takes a lot out of him. And he always feels good. It's not like he doesn't feel good. That's the frustrating part. It's like he knows he is primed and ready to go. Peak went really well. Training went really well. We just can't control those little extra factors. And now we're just going to gain weight. He's competed at this body weight for 5 years. It's just time. It's time to go up. It's time for him to increase that body weight. It's time for him to really showcase exactly what he can do, not only on the platform, but really focus on building those muscle bellies up a little bit. And now we move on to Boston. I was just in Boston last weekend. We're recording the day after Christmas. Merry Christmas, everyone, and happy holidays to those who don't celebrate. But we were in Boston last weekend, and it was, I've never been. I've been to Massachusetts, but I've never been to Boston. So this was my first real experience in the city, and it's awesome. It's just a really cool city. You don't really feel like you're in a super big city. You kind of feel like you're in a smaller city just because you can literally walk everywhere. Like where you are, anywhere in Boston you can kind of walk to. It's like 1.5 miles apart from one another, and it's better than getting in a taxi or an Uber because it takes about just as long in a taxi or an Uber, especially at peak hours. So we had Geraldine Goldberg. We had really 2 main goals for this meet that we were going into. One was qualify for nationals, and the other was get her feet wet back into competing. It's been, I think for her, which again, this is the foreshadowing, it was well over a good 2 years since the last time she competed. Like I was talking about with Mariah, like I'm going to talk about with Geraldine, getting your training in is extremely important. Competing in your competing is also extremely important. At the end of the day, you might be strong, but if you're missing on technicalities, whether it's depth, commands, doing something incorrectly for the lift, those are things you're not going to know until you start competing more. Like, where do I need to be? How deep does this need to be? Where, like, I need to practice a lot of these things and work out the kinks. And that's exactly for Geraldine what happened. Completed every single lift. You know, we left about 7.5 kilos on the table. So we left 82.5 on the squat. Thought the third one was definitely deep enough because it was at the same depth the first one was. But judges didn't see it that way, and that's totally cool. I'm not gonna argue with the judges. That's what they saw from their vantage point. They're the ones in the polos sitting in the chairs. Missed a bench on butt lifting a little bit. Again, little technical errors that you can mitigate, but it doesn't count in a meet. So we left another 2.5 kilos there. We missed 82.5 twice. So we went 6 for 9. -10 from our best ever total that she has ever completed. However, we did lose 5 kilos of body weight in a new weight class, in a new age group. So we aged into the Masters 2 50 to 54 class. I think they call that 2A. I guess a little segue into why I'm at these meets in Minnesota and in Massachusetts. I love traveling with my clients. It gives me an opportunity to give back to them. They invest in me for all this training and coaching and feedback. The least I can do is try to be there for them. You know, obviously if life allows me to, that's where I want to be. I want to be with them. I want to make sure that I'm making an impact. I want to make sure that they're getting the most out of their game day experience. Yeah, that was our December. I tried to keep it as short as I could. But when you have, 10 people competing in a month, sometimes I get a little lengthy. So hope you enjoyed that. I really can't wait for January. We have one meet, 2 people. So it'll be super quick, and it should be like maybe 10 minutes. But yeah, besides that, that was bowl time for December. And go Bills, because we need it. Cheers.